my name's Azalea and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to edit a template in Canva. And some of the things we're going to discuss is how to change the font, how to change the colors, how to add or delete clipart, how to duplicate icons or pages in case you would like your template to be double-sided, how to use the elements in Canva, how to create a shadow effect on any of the elements that you want to add, and how to make an image transparent. So let's get right into it. So the first thing is how to change a font. So let's say, for example, you've opened your template and you love what's already on there, but you just want to play around with things just to see if there's any other options that might look even better. So what you want to do is click on whichever part of the text that you want to edit. So let's just take this heading that says hello, for example. Now up here, just slightly to the left of the template, you can see that it says Rumba. So that's the name of the font that has been used for the title. So that's the name is Rumba. So let's say, for example, you want to change it or just play around with it. So what you can do actually to make it slightly easier, rather than having to literally scroll through hundreds of different fonts, especially if you're not sure what kind of font you're looking for. If you know that you like fonts with this kind of, I don't know, I would describe it as a swirly effect really. I'm not sure if that's right, the right terminology, but let's just say that. What you do is you can just type script into here. And it will bring up all of the fonts that have that kind of, I think maybe the word is cursive style. So you can play around with it. That's Jimmy script, or this one, or playlist script if you want a bit of a thicker font. So that just gives you an idea of what you can do if you want to change the font. If you want a font that is slightly more corporate looking, you can just type in sans, and that will give you all of the fonts that are a little bit more corporate in their style, kind of like an Arial font almost. And then you can choose different fonts that are bold, or ones that are a little bit lighter, depending on what you're looking for. So that's a quick overview on how to change the font. So if you kind of go through that and then you decide that actually you prefer to have what was there before, then remember that we said the previous font was Rumba, and then we can just click that and put that back to how it was before. And the principle applies to everything else. So again, if you want to change the small text underneath, you can just click on that. As you can see, that font is Beliza, and you can just click on the font options and then just choose whichever options that come up there. Okay, so what we'll do next is just discuss how to change the colors. Now, say for example, if you love the template but you're not completely happy with the shades of pink maybe, or you just want to change it to a completely different color, what you do is just click on the item that you want to change, and then you want to click this small box up here for colors. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Now what it will show you are the document colors. So these are all of the colors that will already have been used in the template. So let's say for example you prefer this shade of pink. What you can do is just go ahead and click on that and it will change that shade of pink. You can make all of them pink, or maybe you only want these two shades of pink, and so you can just kind of find which shade that one is, which I think is that one. Yeah. And then you can just go ahead and change that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's how you change the colors. Now let's say for example you don't want the hearts to be pink at all, you want to change them to a completely different color. Now down here you've got a set of default colors, and these are pretty much standard colors that you may love, or you might find that actually you want to change it to something different. Now what I would suggest is you can either go about this a couple of ways. I'll show you the kind of most easier ways. what you can do is just click on blue, for example. Now, you might not want this specific shade of blue. So what you want to do after you've clicked on that blue is just click on this kind of plus sign here. And what you can do is just move the cursor around until you come to a shade of blue that you prefer. Now this sky blue is actually quite nice, so we can kind of keep that. Now this code down here is what is called a hex number, and that is the specific code for this specific shade of blue. So I mean, once you've selected it, it will be added to your document colors here anyway. But let's say, for example, if you're creating other templates from scratch, or you want to edit other templates, it is worth making a note of that hex number so that you can also use that color in other templates that you create or sell or edit using Canva. So that's that. Now let's say, for example, you are not sure, you know, what kind of color you want to use. What you can do for a bit of inspiration is go to Pinterest. Now what you can do is you can in Pinterest, sorry, you can type in color or color palette inspiration, you know, whatever kind of takes your fancy really, and you can just kind of scroll to see what kind of colors are kind of trending at the moment, or what kind of colors you prefer. Now let's say, for example, you want a pastel kind of palette. Now what's interesting is that although some pins may have different colors on them and show color palettes, some of them don't really have the hex numbers, which is what you would need to actually be able to put it into Canva. So what you might want to do is just put color palette, and then what I find helpful is to actually just type in hex codes as well, and then that will bring up color palettes that actually have the hex number. So let's use this one. So let's say, for example, you want just like a pastel shade, and this kind of blush shade kind of seems to be what you want. What you can do is just make a quick note. So I'm just going to make a quick note on my notepad. So we've got FAE2E0. So that's the code or hex code for this particular shade of blush. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the template and we'll click on this heart here. And what we're going to do is just here in this kind of search bar, we're going to type in that hex number. And as you can see, this is the color of that hex number. Okay, so that is how you can find different shades to go in your template. So we'll just go back to Pinterest and just kind of cover that again. So you just need to type into the search bar color palette hex codes, which just kind of only brings up palettes with the hex code. And then you can just kind of scroll down, you know, see what kind of colors you prefer. Like this one's got a lovely palette shade where you can see there. And then you just write down the hex code, go back to your Canva template, press on any icon that you want to change, and then you just type in the hex code number here, and that will bring up the shade and the color that you're looking for. Now, as you can see, because we've kind of chosen this kind of lighter shade, it now seems quite similar to the background. So you might even want to make that a bit lighter. I mean, it can't really go much lighter because it's nearly the lightest it can be, but there we go. So that kind of makes a little bit more contrast to the back of the template. So the next thing is how to add or delete clip art. Now let's say, for example, you really love the template, but you're not a fan of the hearts on there. So what you can do, if you've got lots of little icons and things in one area, you can literally just drag your cursor and just select all of them and press delete on your keyboard, or up here on the right hand corner you can kind of see this delete button and you can press that as well. Okay, so you can delete that. and delete, or you can kind of select them individually and press delete as well, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. So there we're left with just the text. Now let's add some different elements. So what you want to do on the left hand side is press on elements, and then it brings up things that you might have recently used if you've used Canva recently, and then lines and shapes and things. So let's say, for example, you want to add some flowers to your template. Now what you want to do is, if you are using Canva and you don't have a pro account, you want to ensure that you select free on your template, only because if you do select things which are which say pro, then there will be a charge for that. So I'll just show you the difference actually. So let's say, for example, if you hover over this icon, you can see just down here it says pro. So if you were to add this to your template and then you kind of wanted to download it and use it, you'll then be prompted to actually pay for this, which is usually around $1 or £1, depending on, you know, where you're actually living. But if you want it to be completely free, then I suggest that you kind of filter and use the free options. Now if your subscription doesn't actually come up with these options here, the other way to know if an image is free is also to just kind of hover over it and it will just say free underneath. Okay, so these images are all things that you can use and add to your template for free. Now what I really love is this photo actually. It's actually quite a nice background. So what we can do is, if you want to add it, you just click on it. And we can just delete this background here. Okay, so what we can do is just add that and then just kind of stretch it to a similar size of your template. And we'll just delete the background. Okay, so that's actually quite nice, but as we can see, it does kind of overpower the text just a little bit. It wouldn't be that easy to read, or for any of your customers to read these parts. I mean, they could read it, but if you just want to make it a bit easier, what you can do is actually make the background image slightly transparent so that the text is a lot easier to read. So what you want to do is just click on your image, and then you want to click on this icon up here which says transparency. Okay, and you've got this kind of slider. So at the moment, as you can see, the transparency for this element or icon is 100. So what you can do is you can just slide it down and you can see the image getting slightly more and more transparent, and it goes right the way down to 0, which would practically in effect delete it really. So you just want to slide it to a point where the text is more prominent than the image. So let's just leave it as, let's just check at 75. That's still, even 60 you can kind of get away with, but we're just going to leave it at, let's see, I think 60 is a bit better because the image, you can still see the flowers as well, so that can make it a little bit more transparent. And as I mentioned, all you can do is literally just slide it up back to its original, or you can just slide it down, and you can always change that. So if, for example, after you've done a little bit more editing, you feel that actually the flowers still kind of pop a little bit too much, you can just press on that slider again and just decrease the transparency of that image. Okay, so that's how to use transparency and how to add an image. Now let's say, for example, we're gonna have to do a little bit of a test here, because some of the elements, some of the free elements that you want to use in Canva, they do actually allow you to change some of the colors, but some of them don't. So it is a little bit of a trial and error. So I'm just going to see if there's one where you can change the colors. So we're going to try this daisy. Now, how you'll know if it allows you to change the color is that these kind of colors pop up on the at this bar here. So for example, if you click on this one, you'll see all of the colors disappear. So that means that you can't change the colors of this flower. I mean, if you love it, then that's absolutely fine. If you can't change the colors and you would actually prefer to, then it's best to just delete that. So we'll stick with this one for now. So what you'll need to do is we want to change the color of the petals, because as you can see here, the petals are white, but because we've got a white background, it's not going to show through. So let's go back and let's say we want to change it to like a beige. So we can change the color to beige, and then maybe this blue color here, which is this color up here, maybe we'll want to change that to, let's see, a white even. And then this kind of mustardy looking color, I don't know, maybe we can change that to something. Actually, let's just put that back to white and click on the mustard one. Okay, and then maybe we can change the middle color to the mustard color. So that just gives you a quick overview on how to change the colors. So if you can change the color on an element, it will come up in this bar up here. If you can't, then it won't come up. So you can either use it as it is, or choose a different kind of element where you can change the elements or colors like this one. And you can just play around with it. So usually the colors correspond with the part of the element that you can change. So for example, this white part is only for this part here. This kind of beige color is for the outer petals. This kind of slightly darker beige color is for the middle, and then the kind of mustard color for these little dots in the middle of that circle there. So just kind of play around with it until you get the shades exactly. So these shades might not exactly be complementary of each other, but it's just to give you an idea of how to actually change the colors in your template. So the next thing we're going to quickly cover is how to duplicate a page or duplicate an icon even. So let's say, for example, you want to kind of create copies of this flower so that you can place them all around your template. So what you want to do is click on the icon, and then you want to press this up here which says duplicate. So that will literally make a copy of the flower that you've created. And then if you want to change the size, these little circles on the edge of your template, you can just click on and either drag it to create it bigger, or go the other way and make it smaller. Okay, so you can choose what size you want it to be, and you can do that. So if you prefer to have lots of smaller flowers, then you can click on that one and duplicate it at that size. And then you might actually prefer to have a smaller one there, just for a bit of variety. And then maybe you can drag that here, drag that there. And you can just continue doing that until you feel that you've got something that looks reasonably decent for your template. Okay. Okay, so maybe we're just going to put one more down here, and we're just going to make that slightly smaller. Okay, so you've made your template and you've used your icons, you've changed the colors, you've duplicated them. You might even feel that you want to change the colors of maybe some of the petals on the inside of these, and you can just click on that and change the color of that if you wanted to. So you can really play around with it until you're completely happy. Now, let's say you've completely finished your template, you're happy with how it looks, and then you want to duplicate the page so that you can maybe create a back for your template. So what you want to do is click this page. So you duplicate the page, and let's say, for example, you want to just delete all of this. So what you can do is just literally select it all and just press delete. And then we can just say thank you. And we'll just want to make that a bit smaller. Okay. So that's how you duplicate the page. So you just literally press this duplicate page icon, and this will help you to create multiple sides to your template. So you can either create it double-sided, or you can just have the one side of your template if that's what you'd prefer. Okay, so that's it in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything that I didn't explain clearly, or if there's anything else that you want me to create a video on, or any questions that you have about the video, please leave them down in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.